Welcome Exile, and welcome to my Zombiemancer guide for beginners. It's a simple starter build for softcore players that want to kill Guardians and Shaper early in the new league. All items are easily obtainable, and it can run every map mod in the game. The changes to the Necromancer and Ascendancy in the 3.2 update has now made the build even stronger than the one you see in this video. You now get an additional zombie, which is a huge increase to your overall damage. You also get more life and area damage for your zombies, as well as other great things that I will go over more in depth later in the video. For chest I use the Tabula rasa, and the easiest way to acquire that is to run Blood Aqueduct in Act 9 for the humility cards. You then trade 9 of the humility card to Tasuni in town, and he will give you your very own Tabula rasa. Blood Aqueduct is also a great leveling spot, so you won't lose anything by running that area several times. To reset the area, you hold down control by clicking the entrance or the waypoint. The main weapon for this build is the Montrigue's Grasp. It's a pretty common item that you can buy from pe.trade, but you can also get it by collecting 4 death cards, where the Karui Fortress area in Act 6 is a great spot. The helmet that I use for this build is the Baron. The Baron is a very necessary item for this build to work, since it gives +1 to maximum number of zombies for every 300 strength. The Baron is a common drop, and it's been cheap to buy at pe.trade ever since it's been nerfed. And the belt that I use for this build is a Stygian-wise rare belt with strength, life and resist, and the average jewel I use in it is one with strength and life. Optionally, you can use a Cyclopean coil belt that is dropped by the Elder at any difficulty. It's a common Elder drop and very cheap to buy from pe.trade already early in the league. For gloves and boots I use rare ones with strength, life and resist, until you can get either Medinal Spice gloves or Alberon's Warpath boots. The goal is to use items so you get over 1200 strength to reach the limit for 7 zombies. For the offhand there are several options. The one I like to use is the Iron Borax for the all resist. You can use a rare shield with strength and resist. You can use Victorious Charity Shield, or you can create a rare weapon with Essence of Fear. For amulet and rings I use rare ones with strength, life and resist. Later on in the game I exchange my rare amulet for an Astra Mentis, which you can get from exchanging 3 cards of the Polymath to Tasuni. The Polymath cards drops from the reliquary areas in Act 5, Act 10, as well as the Relic Chambers map. For flasks I use a Life Flask, a Dodge Flask, a Mana Flask. I use a Roomy Convocation for the 3000 armor as well as the block chance, and I use a Quicksilver Flask for the movement speed. And the gems that I use for this build are Raise Zombie, and with Raise Zombie I have Multi-Strike, Maim, and Power level 3, preferably you want and Power level 4, but I have level 3. Melee physical damage and minion damage. And in my boots I use Desecrate, Flesh Offering, Increased Duration and Clarity level 1. The reason I use Clarity level 1 is because of the Commander in Darkness slot in my Ascendancy tree. Commander of Darkness gives you and your allies increased attack speed, increased damage and all rest if you have an aura that you cast that affect both you and your allies. And in my helm I use Empower level 3, Summon Stone Golem, Minion Life, and Animate Guardian. I don't use an Animate Guardian against Shaper because it would just die anyway. In my gloves I use Cast when Damage Taken level 1, Convocation level 5, Enfeeble level 5, and Immortal Call level 3. In my main hand I use Leap Slam, Faster Attacks, and Fortify. And in my offhand I use Generosity, Hatred, and Decoy Totem. For Pantheon there are several options, but I prefer Soul of the Brine King because of the stun and freeze immunity, but you could just as well go with Soul of Arakali for the reduced damage taken over time. For Minor Guard I go with Soul of Radakesh for the 25% reduced physical damage over time while moving and 25% chance to avoid bleeding. The added Captured Drek is also very useful since you cannot be blinded and you cannot be maimed. For bandits, you should kill them all. For leveling, I recommend starting with Summon Radiant Spirits until level 16 when you can equip Desecrate. When you got Desecrate, that's when you can switch over to Raise Zombies and connect Raise Zombies with minion damage and added fire damage. I also recommend everybody to fill your backup weapon slots with Raise Zombie Gems and keep them there while leveling. And when your Raise Zombie Gems all hit level 20, you wanna use Ball Orbs on that and hope you're lucky to get a level 21. I never was that lucky, so I never got a level 21 Raise Zombie Gem, but if you do, it's gonna help your damage by a lot. The main pros for this build is that it's beginner friendly, so it's simple to play. It's easy to level and you don't need expensive items to kill shape. You can also run every map mod in the game with relative ease. The main cons for this build is that it's a monotonous playstyle. It's not a very fast map clearer, and physical reflect mods can be annoying since you have to constantly raise new zombies. These are the skills that I picked out for my level 90 Necromancer. So what you have to understand first and foremost is that the main slot for this build is your zombies. And the zombies get additional damage because of the Baron helmet, then you want strength. So what you do is you pick out the 1+ zombies. These nodes, they're key for the build to work, and then you get life and strength for everything else. Life and strength. And the jewels that I use for this build are 1 Violent Dead. A Violent Dead jewel you can get from the Death to Purity questline in Act 5. And then I use 2 Efficient Training jewels. And they are very common and cheap to buy, and it's important that you place them in these 2 slots. And for the other 3 slots I use Brawn. And with Brawn it's important that you get one with 6% increased strength, and you want preferably with 10% reduced intelligence. The reason you use Brawn is because you want to hit the 1200 strength mark to get the maximum number of zombies to your build. For the new and improved Necromancer Ascendancy class, I go with Invoker for the minion life and minion damage, and then I go with Fleshbinder for the extra number of zombies. Fleshbinder also gives you zombie slam attack, increased area effect, and cooldown recovery speed, which is gonna help you a lot. And then I go with Commander of Darkness, that gives you and your allies 3% attack speed and cast speed, increased damage, and all rest. This is the reason that I use a level 1 Clarity. And lastly I go with Mistress of Sacrifice for the increased skill duration. I know a lot of people like to go with Mistress of Sacrifice first, but to me it's not that important, I went with it last.